In today's episode of Nerve-Wracking 911 Calls, an axe attack takes numerous twists and turns. A teen survives a plane crash. A 5-month-old baby is abducted. And a woman declared dead is still alive and breathing. Let's get into it. In the early hours of November 15, 2004, Peter and Joan Porco were brutally attacked by an axe-wielding intruder in their bedroom. Sometime after that, Peter had seemingly regained consciousness and started to go about his morning tasks. He pulled clothes on over his wounds and began walking around the house. The victim went downstairs, made breakfast, and even went out to get the newspaper. When Peter stumbled back inside, he lost consciousness and died. Meanwhile, Joan was still upstairs, left for dead. One of their sons, 21-year-old Christopher, called 911 hoping to find out what had happened after he had received a call from a local reporter who was asking for comment.
From Police Dispatcher Sagamore.
Hi, my name is Chris Porco. I was just called by the Times-Union saying that my parents were found dead this afternoon. I was wondering if you had any information for me.
Hey, Chris, whereabouts are you?
I'm at school in Rochester, New York.
Okay, are you in a dorm there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you have a dorm name or?
It's called Monroe.
Okay. And you're hearing from the Times-Union?
Yeah, they called me and said my parents were found, I guess, I don't know, they didn't say how or anything.
Let me try and find you somebody who may have some more information for you.
Okay. Now, as far as, when was the last time you said you came down to saw your parents?
About 3 weeks ago. It was on the weekend. I can give you a day. I have to figure it out. I'm not really sure.
Okay, but about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay, and the email, what's going on with your email? You said you emailed him today, but you didn't get a response?
Yeah, I emailed him this afternoon. My dad at work.
Okay.
About college loan stuff.
Okay. You're going to go right to Albany Med?
I don't know. I don't even know where my mom is, but...
Yeah, she is at Albany Med.
Okay. Do you know her condition?
No, because I haven't talked to her. Let me give you my pager number.
Okay.
Because when you get there, I'll come and see if there's anything I can do for you.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
That Monday morning, a New York State courts officer was ordered to the couple's home after Peter, a state appellate division court clerk, had not reported to his Albany office for work. As the officer walked up to the front of the house, he saw a lone key in the front door lock and the door was ajar. Drops of blood on the cement steps led him to a bloodbath inside. Upon entering the 2-story home at 36 Broccoli Drive in Del Mar, the officer discovered 52-year-old Peter's lifeless, blood-soaked body near the front door. Police officers soon discovered Joan Porco laying in the couple's blood-drenched bed with severe head and facial trauma. The fireman's axe belonging to the Porcos that was used in the attack was found next to her. Miraculously, Joan was clinging to life. Detective Chris Bodish couldn't believe what he saw. He asked the woman if she could hear him, and she nodded yes. At that point, Bodish knew that Joan was aware of what was happening. It was also clear to the detective that there hadn't been forced entry to the house. While paramedics struggled to get her oxygen, Bodish asked, "Did a family member do this to you?" And she nodded her head up and down, a clear yes. With the first responders as witness, the detective knew he needed to probe for more details about the attacker. 2 years prior, Bodish had met the Porcos when they reported the theft of laptops during a burglary and learned they had 2 sons. At the crime scene, he was wondering about the whereabouts of Jonathan and Christopher. So he asked Joan, "Did Jonathan do this to you?" And she clearly shook her head back and forth, no. He then asked, "Did Christopher do this to you?" And she then shook her head up and down. She nodded yes, he did. Within the hour of the 911 call, police confirmed to Christopher that Peter was dead. Meanwhile, the couple's 23-year-old son, Jonathan, found out the devastating news at his Navy base thousands of miles away as an uncle rushed Christopher to his mother's bedside at the hospital. Police then questioned the Rochester student for 6 hours.
Your mother's communicating. She's saying you were there at the house. You don't know why she would say that. She knows what happened. I hope she does. I was not there.
His frat brothers were asked about Christopher's alibi, which they couldn't back up. Detectives searched his room, taking clothes and a computer. They even impounded his car, a bright yellow Jeep Wrangler. Back at Albany Medical Center, Joan remained unconscious, still clinging to life and undergoing many hours of surgery. By now, despite vehemently denying it, Christopher was the prime suspect in the murder, but police needed more evidence. On the day of the incident, the 21-year-old was at the university more than 200 miles from the crime scene, and a student had also seen him out jogging that morning. The case appeared to have hit a wall until investigators decided to check several campus security cameras. Those would change everything. Christopher had told investigators he never left the university, but his Jeep was caught on tape driving through a campus parking lot around 10:30 p.m., just hours before the attack. Minutes later, the New York State Thruway toll collector John Fallon remembered handing a ticket to a young man driving a yellow Jeep with big tires. And at 1:51 a.m., another toll collector said she may have seen the same vehicle being driven by a young white male speeding into her lane at exit 24 in Albany. The Porco home is just 9 miles away from the exit. Half an hour after that, the burglar alarm was deactivated using the master code and was later destroyed to hide that. However, that didn't clear the memory. The phone line was cut off as well. Investigators believe Christopher then grabbed an axe from the garage, crept upstairs, and savagely attacked his parents in a bed. Just after 5 a.m., the Jeep went back through the toll route, eventually landing up back on campus around 8:30 a.m. Almost a year later, on November 4, 2005, Christopher was charged with the murder of his father and attempted murder of his mother. However, in a sudden twist, Joan Porco recovered from the attack and said that she had no memory of anything that happened that night. The mother of two also had no recollection of ever indicating by nodding that her son was the attacker, and Joan went on the offensive, publicly claiming that her son was innocent. A month after he was charged, Christopher was out on bail, which was posted by a large circle of family and friends, all of whom were convinced of his innocence. Since no bloody foot or fingerprint linked the 21-year-old to the crime scene and no forensics evidence found in his Jeep, many thought the prosecutors had a weak case. Just when it seemed as if the case couldn't get stranger, Joan Porco said she had allegedly seen a stranger in her driveway weeks before. This led Chris's lawyer to think the mob may have been targeting the family in retaliation for the alleged snitching by Peter's distant relative, Frankie the fireman Porco, a convicted member of New York's mafia. In contrast, Christopher was not the sweet, innocent young man people thought. Police discovered it was him who stole his parents' laptops and later sold them on eBay. The Rochester student even deceived his fraternity brothers, inventing a phony life as a rich kid. He said his grandmother was a wealthy landowner who owned much of the land in Fairfield County, Connecticut. In reality, Chris was flunking out of school and deeply in debt. His extravagant lifestyle was pure fantasy. In the days leading up to the attack, Chris's father discovered that his son had forged his signature to obtain a car loan and a $31,000 loan to pay for school. Peter Porco sent his son a series of angry emails calling him out of control. Joan also wrote to Christopher saying, "Your father and I are extremely upset with your lies. Dad is about to have a nervous breakdown." Broke and desperate, prosecutors believed he wanted to cash in on their $1.1 million life insurance. 19 months after the savage attack that left her husband dead and her life forever disfigured, Joan Porco walked into court side by side with the man accused of the brutal crime, her own son. After 7 weeks and more than 80 witnesses, the jury took less than 6 hours to find Christopher Porco guilty. Although they didn't believe the attacker's account, the one thing jurors wanted Joan Porco to know was that her nod played absolutely no role in their verdict. One juror said, "We believe she didn't know what she was nodding to, that she had no idea what the question was. We threw that out. We dismissed that completely." Christopher Porco was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. He filed an appeal in February 2009, which was denied, and is currently incarcerated at Clinton Correctional Facility. The killer will not be eligible for parole until December 2052. Joan Porco frequently speaks to Christopher by phone and visits often. If you're a true 911 fan, don't forget to like this video. In July 2015, a 16-year-old girl was picked up by a passing motorist near a hiking trail and driven about 30 miles to Mazama General Store, where employees called 911.
Hello?
Hi, this is Michael with the Oakland County 911. What is your name?
Autumn Beach.
Autumn Beach, B-E-E-C-H?
V-A-T-C-H.
Okay, and so tell me exactly what happened.
I was riding from Kalispell, Montana to Bellingham, Washington, and I don't know where, but we crashed and I was the only one that made it out.
Okay. Made it out from the collision or survived?
Yeah, the only one that survived.
Okay. Are you injured at all?
Yeah, I have a lot of burns on my hands, and I'm like kind of covered in bruises and scratches and stuff.
Okay. All right, Autumn. How old are you?
I'm 16.
I'm going to send someone out to come help you there at the Manzana store. Just don't go anywhere, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Autumn Veach was on the White and Red Beach 35 Bonanza with her step-grandparents, Sharon and Leland Bowman. The trio took off from Kalispell, Montana, shortly after 1 p.m. en route for Linden, Washington. 2 hours and 20 minutes into the flight, the plane disappeared from radar near Omak, Washington. But signals from a passenger's cell phone continued for about half an hour, and Veach posted a photo to social media during the flight. Veach's father said his daughter told him the plane flew into some clouds over Washington when a mountain face suddenly appeared. The next thing she knew, the plane crashed and caught fire. When police arrived, the teen was cold and wet, believed to be a result of her crossing a river during the trek through the forest to find help. She was transported to a local hospital and treated for dehydration. The status of Veach's step-grandparents was unclear, although Veach's mother posted on Facebook that they didn't make it. Veach's injuries include non-life-threatening scrapes and bruises. The couple's remains were eventually recovered. Sadly, 3 years after her miraculous survival, Veach overdosed in early October 2018 and was in critical condition at St. Joseph's Medical Center in Bellingham. Her father, David Veach, says she never really recovered from that horrific crash. Instead, she turned to drugs for help. Friend Lila McClellan found her after the overdose, telling the media she overdosed. She actually died. Paramedics gave her CPR, brought her back, but we don't know how long she was gone. Veach spent several days in a coma and remained in critical condition. No updates on her recovery have been made public. In May 2021, shortly after 9 a.m., mom of two, Tanisha McCrae, stopped at the Marathon gas station on Randleman Road in Greensboro to get directions. She brought her 3-year-old with her inside the gas station and left her 5-month-old daughter, Nora Starr Grant, in her black 2017 Volkswagen Tiguan with it running. During that time, someone jumped in the car and took off. Panicked, the mother called 911.
Gilbert Metro 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Yeah, hello?
This is 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Yeah, I have an emergency. Somebody just stole a customer's car here, Marathon gas station.
Someone did what?
Marathon gas station.
Okay, what's the address?
Yeah, hey, come and speak to the police.
Oh my God.
Calm down and
Hello? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's a black Volkswagen. Somebody just stole my door. My daughter's in the car. It's a black Volkswagen. I'm at the Marathon on Redmond Road. He's in the back seat.
Okay. Hold on for a minute.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! They just stole it. It's a 2017. Oh my God! Oh my God! Please.
I got them coming. Hold on for me.
Please. Yes. Yes.
Were there any weapons involved?
No. I got my son in my hand. They got my daughter.
Oh my God. Is that a black Volkswagen?
Yes, it's 2018. It's a Jetta black. It's a Volkswagen Tiguan. Oh my God. Please, don't, please.
They're coming to say what direction were they going?
I don't know. I don't know if they got on the highway or what. You got cameras? Please look. Please run it back. Oh my God. Please call it back. Please.
Did you see the person that stole it, ma'am?
He's got cameras.
Okay.
My daughter's in the car. My daughter. That's my daughter.
Somebody see which way they went?
Oh my God. Huh?
Did anyone see which way the car went?
No, ain't nobody up here. I went outside. I didn't even leave her. I just went right to the counter. That was it. That was it. I didn't even get anything. I just asked for directions. Oh my God, please, y'all, please find her, please. Please, please.
They're coming, ma'am.
An Amber Alert was issued for Nora. Around 6:30 a.m., Ricky Pegues was on his way to his friend Bill Mercer's house on Highland Avenue to paint when he heard a noise. He said he thought a cat had abandoned its kitten, but when Pegues went behind the apartment complex to the dumpster, he spotted baby Nora. Once reunited, the mother and child held a press conference.
I feel fabulous. Amazing, wonderful, sensational. Just to have my little angel back. You know?
Winston-Salem Police Department said the car was found on 11th Street and Cleveland Avenue. This incident was the third time in a month that Greensboro police had been called about a child left in a running vehicle that was stolen. All 3 children were found safe. To date, it's unclear whether the suspect, described as a 20-year-old male wearing a blue athletic sweatshirt, blue jeans, white socks, and blue Nikes, was caught. Police have repeatedly pleaded with the public for information and help to identify the abductor. Southfield, Michigan dispatchers received a 911 call from funeral home workers in August 2020 after they realized that a woman who had been declared dead was still alive.
Try 911, what's that? Just an emergency.
Yes, I need to get an EMS truck to 6. I picked a deceased patient. I picked a deceased patient up for the from the house. The mother told me she's deceased. She's still breathing, and she's breathing out of her mouth, and her stomach is still breathing. So her mother said she's gonna be breathing about the next hour or so. But
what's the address?
And she's still breathing.
And what's the cross street over there?
James Cole Funeral Home. I could meet him up at the front. We make him bring him to the rear.
And what are you, the coroner?
I'm the funeral home. I'm the one that brought her in.
Oh, you the funeral home?
Yeah, I'm from with the funeral home. The person's supposed to be deceased. They
right.
Deceased. She's still breathing out of her mouth and out her stomach. And
I got you. And how old is the patient?
12, 14 years old.
A young girl?
Yep. That's where that case number at? I don't know why they medical exam there. Okay.
Right.
Okay,
well, say this. Let me ask you this: is she awake?
Hmm? She's breathing. She's still breathing out her mouth and her stomach.
So, is she awake? Is the question.
She's got problems. Her eyes are open. They said they stay open, her eyes open, but they said it's her family said she got some different. You know.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Stay with me. Okay. Is her breathing completely normal?
It's breathing like she's trying to catch that breath, and it's coming out of her mouth too. I've been doing this like 32 years. I never had a situation like this before.
Okay.
And the funeral home said, "Don't leave her here because she's still breathing."
Right. Okay. I want you to say now every single time she takes a breath in. I want you to say now.
I was at the front trying to meet them. Let me go.
Okay. All right.
I go back to the front.
Okay.
He said, how many times is she breathing? She constantly breathing in and out. She constantly breathing in and out every.
What? No. Listen to me. I need you to look at her. I need you to look at her.
I'm coming back to her now.
And every time she takes a breath, in, say the word now.
Now she's breathing short breath, and her tongue is moving.
Just say now. Every time she breathes in.
Now.
Say now every time she breathes in. Huh? Say now every time she breathes in.
Now. She's constantly breathing. No, my tongue is moving.
Okay. I'm sending paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
20-year-old Tamisha Beauchamp's mother called Cole Funeral Home in Detroit after thinking her daughter had died. The man told officials the girl's eyes were open and she was clearly still alive. He said in his 32 years of working in the industry, he had never had a situation like this before. Beauchamp had been living with cerebral palsy her entire life. On Sunday morning, the 23rd of August, her mother, Erica Lattimore, noticed her daughter was having great difficulty breathing, so she called authorities. Paramedics with the Southfield Fire Department said the 20-year-old was in cardiac arrest and showed no signs of life. Based on information from the fire department on the scene, Beauchamp was officially declared dead by an emergency department physician. Lattimore hired attorney Jeffrey Fieger to push for answers while Southfield firefighters were undergoing an internal investigation along with the Oakland County Medical Control Authority. Investigators questioned whether the medics did exactly what they said they did and whether the heart monitor had a catastrophic failure. Fieger said Beauchamp's godmother is a nurse and alerted medics and police officers that she could see the woman breathing. However, the paramedics said that the movement was involuntary because of medication.
I was feeling for a pulse, and actually I did feel a pulse. It was faint, but I felt a pulse. And at that time, the paramedics had gone back downstairs, and we called them back up, and they did return. And as they returned, you know, they felt for a pulse. And they said that I didn't feel one, so I just didn't argue with them. But the thing that really got my attention was the fact that her breathing was had returned back to normal.
Sadly, Tamisha Beauchamp died on the 18th of October 2020. The family's attorney said although she died peacefully at Children's Hospital, it was due to massive brain damage suffered when Southfield paramedics wrongly declared her dead and failed to provide her much-needed oxygen. The 20-year-old spent weeks in hospital from the effects. The family filed a $50 million lawsuit. Meanwhile, the state of Michigan suspended the license of the EMS employees involved. Those paramedics and EMTs also sued to keep those licenses. For more true 911 calls, watch this episode next. You can also let me know which call was your favorite in the comments below.